Imagine aircraft that at first glance made no sense, twisted shapes, reverse engines, or drop-like bodies. Yet each design held a secret purpose, buried within Cold War aviation, jet fighter evolution, and experimental breakthroughs. These forgotten innovations reveal how pushing symmetry, aerodynamics, and stealth logic turned oddity into legacy. Could these bizarre planes actually revolutionize aviation history? The Hawk Speed 6 was a British racing monoplane created in 1934 by Miles Aircraft Limited. Designed by Frederick George Miles, it evolved from the Hawk Major into a streamlined single-seat aircraft built for maximum velocity. It used a wooden fuselage and fixed landing gear to reduce weight and drag. With a wingspan of 33 feet and empty weight around 1,355 pounds, it was optimized for competition performance. Powered by a de Havilland Gypsy 6 engine generating 200 horsepower, the Hawk Speed 6 achieved top speeds near 161 knots and could climb at a rate of 1,450 feet per minute. The front cockpit was eliminated, and the pilot's seat repositioned to maintain center of gravity. This configuration gave it ideal balance for high-speed maneuvers and low-altitude sprint racing, where acceleration and stability were essential to victory. Only 3 units were ever built, each customized for its pilot with adjustments in canopy shape and flight trim. Despite the low production number, the aircraft became a mainstay in prestigious British competitions, such as the King's Cup race. It flew in 1955 at Leeds Airport bearing race number 96 and left an impression for its elegance and raw power. It was a machine that proved precision design could dominate without complexity or excessive force. While the Hawk Speed 6 embodied precision and elegance in pursuit of pure speed, it also raised deeper questions about how airframes handle airflow and lift at extreme conditions. Behind the racing spotlight, engineers began experimenting with wing thickness and aerodynamic flow in less glamorous but far more radical designs. That's when a new machine emerged, not to compete, but to reveal. The strange aircraft with a hidden purpose would quietly change how wings were built. The Miles M.3 Falcon was a refined British monoplane that first flew in 1934. Created by Miles Aircraft and designed for comfort and efficiency, it featured a low wing layout and side-by-side seating. Powered by a de Havilland Gypsy Major engine, it reached solid cruise speeds while maintaining light control response. With a wingspan of 35 feet, it offered both elegance and performance in a clean civilian airframe. Later versions, such as the Falcon 6, upgraded the engine to a de Havilland Gypsy 6 with 200 horsepower. These models achieved higher speeds and longer range, flying routes like England to Cape Town. The Miles M3 Falcon became popular for record attempts in air races, including the King's Cup. With graceful lines and precision handling, it proved civil aviation could compete in both style and capability. Though built for private use, several Falcons entered military service before World War II. Some operated under the Royal Air Force and Royal Australian Air Force for liaison and testing missions. Its low-drag airframe and stable control profile made it a natural fit for aerodynamic research. One unit served at the Royal Aircraft Establishment, helping test concepts that later supported early supersonic design theory. But while the Falcon combined utility with refinement, a very different machine was forming behind the Iron Curtain. In Czechoslovakia, a civilian aircraft emerged with an unmistakably modern silhouette. With its push propeller configuration and retractable landing gear, it defied Eastern Bloc design language. The L-40 Meta Sokol arrived in 1956 as a bold civilian design from Czechoslovakia. Developed by Oerlikon, it was meant to offer more than just utility. Its lines were sleek, the canopy wide, and the overall layout aerodynamic and refined. While most Eastern aircraft favored simplicity and robustness, the Meta Sokol added a layer of elegance. It was a light aircraft built not just to fly, but to impress, bringing sportiness to skies dominated by strict functionality. Its most unusual feature was its pusher configuration. While the engine was mounted in front of the fuselage, the propeller sat behind the cabin, driven through an extension shaft. This allowed for a completely unobstructed forward view and reduced propeller turbulence around the cockpit. Powered by a Walter Miner 4.3 engine, it generated around 105 horsepower and operated reliably above 13,000 feet, even in cold and rugged conditions. The Metasokol structure combined aluminum fuselage with wooden wings, a hybrid approach suited to Czechoslovakia's available materials and post-war industry. It measured 25 feet in length with a wingspan of 34 feet and an empty weight of roughly 1,300 pounds. Its retractable landing gear and enclosed two-seat cabin gave it a refined look rarely seen in the East. The aircraft was agile, stable, and remarkably well suited for training or touring. Over 100 units were built, many of which are still flown today by European sport aviation clubs and private collectors. In a world of gray utility aircraft, the Metasokol stood out like a sculpture in motion. It proved that under a restrictive regime, beauty and performance could still take flight. But while Czechoslovakia quietly refined civilian aviation, another nation prepared a much louder statement. In Argentina, engineers were building a bold turboprop to carry passengers and pride. While the Metasokol brought elegance to eastern skies across the Atlantic, Argentina pursued a different goal. The IA-50 Guaraní II emerged in 1963 as a national turboprop project focused on functionality and autonomy. Designed by the Fábrica Militar de Aviones, it replaced the earlier A-35 Juanquero, retaining only 20% of the original structure. Its bold lines and modern configuration made it a landmark in Latin American aviation. The aircraft measured 48 feet in length, 19 feet in height, and had a wingspan of 64 feet. Empty weight was around 8,600 pounds, with maximum takeoff weight reaching 15,700 pounds. It was powered by two Turbomeca Bastan 6 engines producing 930 horsepower each. This setup enabled cruise speeds of 280 knots and a service ceiling near 41,000 feet. Inside, the Guaraní II could carry up to 15 passengers plus 2 crew members. Its semi-monocoque fuselage and single vertical fin provided excellent aerodynamic stability during long missions. With a range of 1,240 nautical miles, it was suited for military transport, executive travel, and civil administration. In 1965, it flew to the Paris Air Show, then crossed the Atlantic, becoming the first Latin American aircraft to do so. Operated by Argentina's Air Force, Navy, police, and provincial governments, the Guaraní II symbolized industrial ambition and national pride. Its rugged design and versatility ensured continued use for decades, even after production stopped. Maintenance was straightforward and cost-effective, which made it ideal for emerging air fleets. But if the Guaraní proved that determination could lift a nation, the next aircraft would challenge reason itself with a layout so strange, even gravity seemed confused. If the Guaraní II proved how a nation could take control of its skies, the Cessna O-2 Skymaster showed how unconventional design could dominate low-altitude combat zones. Introduced in 1967 by the United States Air Force, it featured a twin-engine push-pull layout that placed one engine in front and another in the rear. This unusual setup gave the aircraft centerline thrust, reducing asymmetrical control issues in critical flight situations. Originally based on the civilian Cessna 337 Super Skymaster, the O-2 was stripped of luxury. It gained structural reinforcements, foam-filled fuel tanks, and panoramic windows for maximum ground visibility. With a takeoff weight of 5,400 pounds and powered by twin 210 horsepower engines, it cruised at 140 knots and operated comfortably below 10,000 feet during battlefield operations. The O-2 served extensively in Vietnam as a forward air control platform. The Alpha version guided strike aircraft to targets using smoke rockets, while the Bravo version conducted psychological missions with loudspeakers and leaflet dispensers. Despite its low speed and vulnerability, pilots appreciated its stability and simplicity under pressure. A total of 178 units were lost during the war, yet the Skymaster remained in use for decades. Its simple construction, low cost, and forgiving flight characteristics made the O-2 a reliable platform long after its retirement from combat. It continued to serve in drug interdiction, border patrol, and civil missions. Yet, while this odd push-pull aircraft made sense from a tactical standpoint, the next machine made no sense at all. Lifting off from water with foam and fiberglass, it abandoned every known convention in favor of total aerodynamic reinvention. The Spratt 107 surfaced in the early 1960s as one of the most radical aircraft ever built. Designed by George Spratt in the United States, it abandoned traditional wings and control surfaces in favor of a unique pivoting wing system. Built with a boat-like fuselage and V-shaped tail, it was technically a flying boat, but visually closer to a backyard experiment. Yet it flew with surprising efficiency and stunned observers with its stability and lift. Its wing system replaced conventional ailerons and elevators. Instead, each wing could independently rotate to change angle of attack. A collective control adjusted both wings simultaneously for pitch, while a steering wheel altered them inversely for roll. The fuselage was made of polyurethane foam covered in fiberglass, weighing around 500 pounds empty, and it used a rear-mounted converted marine engine driving a pusher propeller. The 107 measured 17 feet in length and had a wingspan of 24 feet. It was powered by an 80 horsepower Mercury outboard engine and climbed at 800 feet per minute. Top speed reached 98 miles per hour, and its service ceiling was roughly 3,000 feet. George Spratt claimed the aircraft was stall-proof, spin-proof, and 75% less sensitive to turbulence than traditional airplanes. Despite its groundbreaking flight characteristics, the aircraft never entered production. George Spratt later sold home-built plans for enthusiasts, but few units were completed. Still, it proved that radical control concepts could work and inspired future experimental designers. If the Spratt was simplicity born of genius, the next aircraft tackled the opposite challenge. Small in size, yet heavy in purpose, it needed to lift more than its frame seemed capable of, and do so under extreme conditions. While the Spratt 107 experimented with minimalism, the GAF N22 Nomad went in the opposite direction. Developed in the early 1970s by the government aircraft factories in Australia, it looked like a flying utility box. Its squared fuselage, oversized tail, and fixed gear were not made for beauty, but for function. Built for remote missions, it operated where few other aircraft could even land, earning respect from pilots worldwide. The Nomad was powered by two Allison turboprop engines with 420 horsepower each, allowing short takeoff from unprepared runways. It measured 52 feet in length, 51 feet in wingspan, and weighed around 8,000 pounds empty. Maximum takeoff weight reached 9,900 pounds. It carried 15 passengers, or a tactical cargo load, and flew with reliability across deserts, jungles, and mountainous terrain. Equipped with large side doors, a reinforced cabin floor, and panoramic cockpit views, the Nomad served in roles from border patrol to air ambulance. Cruise speed was modest at 160 knots, but its rugged construction and adaptability made it indispensable in civilian and military operations alike. It operated in Southeast Asia, South America, and the Pacific Islands, where infrastructure was limited but aerial access was essential. Despite its strengths, the Nomad had critical flaws. Structural failures in the tail caused multiple fatal crashes, which damaged its reputation. Production ended after fewer than 200 units. Still, those that remained in service proved tough and reliable. But if the Nomad was function over form, the next aircraft reversed that equation. With twisted lines, canard wings, and space-age performance, it was as elegant as it was unconventional. While the GAF N22 Nomad embraced rugged utility, the Eagle 150 followed a different vision. Developed in Australia during the 1980s by Eagle Aircraft, this two-seat monoplane looked like something from a science fiction sketchbook. With a twisted fuselage, forward canard wings, and a delta-shaped tail, it defied conventional geometry. But despite its bizarre form, it flew with grace, balance, and surprisingly refined control. The Eagle 150 featured a front-mounted canard and a mid-fuselage wing and delta layout, offering excellent stall resistance. Its aerodynamic design prioritized low-speed stability and high maneuverability, ideal for student pilots or light sport flying. It was powered by a Lycoming O-320 engine delivering 160 horsepower, giving it a cruise speed of 140 knots and a service ceiling near 15,000 feet. Its retractable tricycle landing gear and composite structure made the Eagle light and efficient. With an empty weight under 1,400 pounds and a wingspan of 28 feet, it climbed quickly and handled well in crosswind landings. The cockpit layout was side by side with excellent forward and downward visibility. Flight schools praised its responsive control surfaces and balanced center of gravity, especially in traffic pattern work. Though production was limited, the Eagle 150 gained a loyal following among private owners and flight instructors. It proved that a radical configuration could succeed when properly engineered. Its futuristic silhouette became a symbol of lightweight innovation. But while the Eagle aimed for harmony in the air, the next aircraft seemed born from contradiction. Visually chaotic, but mechanically precise, it would become one of the strangest utility aircraft ever built. While the Eagle 150 expressed aerodynamic elegance, the AMF Chevron embraced visual chaos with surprising effectiveness. Built between 1983 and 1998 by aircraft manufacturing and design in the United States, it defied category. With its exposed truss frame, plexiglass bubble cockpit, and long, slender wings, it looked like a glider mated with a kit plane. But behind the odd silhouette was a flight platform of real versatility. Powered by a lightweight Rotax engine, the Chevron delivered reliable short-range performance. It flew at modest speeds under 100 knots, but excelled in low stall characteristics, easy landings, and short takeoff capability. Its empty weight was typically under 600 pounds, depending on configuration, and its wingspan reached over 30 feet. It could operate from unpaved runways, fields, or even grass strips with minimal prep. The aircraft's exposed steel frame allowed for easy maintenance and customization. Some models were fitted with skids, others with floats, and many served as basic trainers for ultralight certification. The plexiglass canopy gave full visibility, and the side stick control layout made it intuitive for student pilots. Though limited in power, the Chevron was stable, responsive, and affordable, which earned it a cult following in light aviation circles. Even after production ended in 1998, many units remained flying in clubs and private collections. Its modular design and quirky looks made it a favorite among builders and educators. After the simplicity of the Chevron, innovation took a bolder step in 1996 with the Rutan Model 202 Boomerang. This asymmetric twin-engine aircraft looked more like a prototype gone wrong than a refined flight machine, yet it flew with balance and safety beyond convention. Designed by Rutan, it was created to overcome the aerodynamic instability that often follows engine failure in traditional twin-engine planes. The Boomerang featured two Lycoming engines, offset on a staggered airframe with forward-swept wings and a twin boomtail. One engine produced 160 horsepower and the other 110. This allowed the aircraft to fly straight even after losing one engine, solving yaw and drag issues naturally. With a cruise speed of 180 knots and a ceiling over 25,000 feet, it flew better than it looked. Its wingspan measured over 30 feet, and the empty weight was around 1,200 pounds. The cabin was offset as well, seated slightly right of centerline. Rutan used it as a personal demonstrator, and only one unit was ever built. Yet it proved that radical asymmetry could yield practical stability. Many pilots called it one of the most stable and forgiving twins ever flown, despite its wild silhouette and confusing shape on the ground. While the Boomerang solved asymmetry with pure logic, another aircraft was preparing to challenge efficiency at its core. Instead of correcting flaws, it eliminated waste. Shaped more like a water droplet than an airplane, it promised jet-level performance with the fuel burn of a car. It was not just unconventional, it was revolutionary. After the asymmetric brilliance of the Boomerang, the aviation world was not expecting something even more radical. The Celera 500L was designed by Otto Aviation to completely reinvent business flight. Its teardrop-shaped fuselage looked closer to a spacecraft than an airplane. But behind that strange appearance was a purpose. It aimed to offer jet performance with turboprop efficiency, using laminar flow to rewrite the rules of private aviation entirely. With a length of 39 feet and wingspan over 55 feet, the Celera 500L housed a single pusher engine rated at 500 horsepower. Built for maximum efficiency, it reached cruise speeds of over 460 miles per hour, while burning fuel at rates up to 80% lower than other light jets. All this came from ultra-low drag surfaces, precise aerodynamic shaping, and structural optimization that turned airflow into pure performance. The aircraft could fly above 45,000 feet and offered a range near 4,500 nautical miles. Inside, its spacious pressurized cabin seated 6 passengers in comfort. With every system designed around low resistance and clean movement through the air, the Celera avoided brute force in favor of refined balance. It was not just a prototype. It flew real missions, confirming performance predictions and redefining what flight could look like. While the Celera M500L stunned the industry with its aerodynamic efficiency and silent disruption, auto aviation was already thinking bigger. The next step would scale the same radical philosophy to reach a wider market. Same laminar flow, same drop-shaped fuselage, but with more passengers, more range, and more ambition. What came next was not just an upgrade, it was a challenge to everything regional aviation thought it knew. These rare inventions weren't just about flying, they redefined what flight could be. Some changed military aviation forever, others became forgotten prototypes, but all helped shape the future of aircraft technology. Hit the like button if any of this blew your mind. It helps us keep bringing you this kind of high-impact aerospace content. Subscribe right now for more futuristic helicopters, vertical lift experiments, and forgotten aviation legends. Leave a comment and tell us which idea you thought was the wildest. And share this video with a fellow aircraft nerd. It'll make their day. Watch the videos that appear here on the screen and stick with us. Bye-bye.